It's Sunday night, 1955. Families across America gather around their glowing television sets. And suddenly, there he is. Alfred Hitchcock himself, delivering droll commentary with that unmistakable deadpan wit. Alfred Hitchcock Presents wasn't just another anthology series. It was a cultural phenomenon that brought genuine suspense and dark humor into living rooms for 10 unforgettable seasons. Behind those trademark introductions and macabre plot twists lay casting surprises, network battles, hidden rebellions, and connections you never saw coming. Today we're counting down 13 weird facts you didn't know about Alfred Hitchcock Presents. If you have fond memories of those spine-tingling episodes, hit that like button and subscribe. Let's keep the legacy alive together. Number 13. Hitchcock barely directed any episodes. Here's the kicker that shocks most fans. Alfred Hitchcock, whose name and face define the series, only personally directed 17 episodes out of the show's 268 installments across its entire run. That's roughly 6%. The rest? Handled by a rotating roster of talented directors, while Hitch focused on his film career and those iconic bookend appearances. But here's why it worked. Hitchcock was deeply involved in selecting stories, approving scripts, and maintaining the show's tone. His creative oversight and those wry introductions made every episode feel like it carried his signature, even when he never stepped behind the camera. It was brilliant branding before branding was really a thing. The audience didn't care who actually yelled action, because Hitchcock's presence, personality, and sardonic humor were woven into the fabric of each tale. He understood something crucial. Sometimes your face and voice are worth more than your hands. Number 12. The show was a sneaky rebellion against censors. Television in the 1950s operated under strict censorship codes that would make your head spin today. The infamous production code demanded that crime never be crystal clear and that wickedness always face consequences. Hitchcock? He found that utterly boring. So here's what he did. He'd let his writers craft deliciously dark stories where murderers almost got away with it, where the good guys weren't always good, and where moral ambiguity reigned supreme. Then came the compromise. Those tacked-on epilogues. After the credits rolled, Hitchcock would return with a smirk to explain, often with tongue firmly in cheek, how the killer was eventually caught or punished. These epilogues were hilariously perfunctory, sometimes absurdly brief, and delivered with such obvious sarcasm that viewers understood the wink. The censors got their mandatory moral, Hitchcock got his subversive storytelling, and audiences got to enjoy the delicious irony. Everyone won, sort of. Number 11. The opening theme has a dark secret that instantly recognizable theme music. Charles Gounod's Funeral March of a Marionette wasn't chosen randomly. Hitchcock selected it specifically because the title referenced puppets, and he loved the metaphor of characters being manipulated by fate, circumstances, or their own fatal flaws. Composed in 1872, this playful yet slightly ominous piece perfectly captured the show's blend of dark humor and suspense. But here's the weird part. Most viewers had no idea what they were actually hearing. The march's original context, a satirical piece about a puppet's funeral, added layers of morbid irony that Hitchcock absolutely relished. It became so synonymous with the series that even today, hearing those opening notes instantly transports you back to that shadowy title sequence with Hitchcock's profile appearing from the void. Music historians note it's one of the most successful repurposings of classical music in television history, transforming an obscure 19th century composition into an American pop culture touchstone. Number 10. Sponsors hated Hitchcock's sarcasm. Alfred Hitchcock treated his sponsors the way a mischievous child treats vegetables, with visible disdain and creative resistance. The series was sponsored by Bristol-Myers Products, and contractually, Hitchcock had to acknowledge them during his segments. But oh, how he made them squirm. He'd deliver sponsor messages with such dripping sarcasm and barely concealed mockery that executives frequently complained. During one intro, he essentially called their product weak. During another, he made jokes at the sponsor's expense so sharp that you could practically hear the boardroom groaning. Bristol-Myers threatened to pull funding multiple times, but here's the beautiful irony. Hitchcock's cheeky sponsor segments became cult favorites themselves. Viewers loved watching him torture the sponsors, and the controversy actually generated publicity. The sponsors were trapped. Pulling out would mean losing association with television's hottest prestige program. Hitchcock knew exactly how much rope he had, and he used every inch of it, turning mandatory commercial obligations into comedy gold. Number 9. Future stars got their break here. Flip through the cast lists of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and you'll find a stunning who's who of actors before they became household names. Robert Redford, Steve McQueen, Peter Falk, Cloris Leachman, Robert Duvall, William Shatner, all appeared in episodes early in their careers, often in bit parts or supporting roles. The show became known as a proving ground for emerging talent because Hitchcock and his producers had sharp eyes for ability over fame. But here's what made it special. These weren't throwaway appearances. The scripts demanded real acting chops, and the anthology format meant actors could play wildly different character types: villains, victims, heroes, or morally complicated anti-heroes. Many performers later cited their Alfred Hitchcock Presents episodes as career turning points, moments when industry insiders took notice. The show's reputation for quality meant that appearing on it carried weight, opening doors and validating talent in ways that guest spots on other series simply didn't. Number 8. Hitchcock's daughter appeared regularly. Patricia Hitchcock, Alfred's only child and an actress in her own right, appeared in 10 episodes throughout the series' run. But this wasn't simple nepotism. Pat had genuine acting credentials, including a memorable role in her father's film Strangers on a Train. What's touching is how their collaborations reflected their real relationship: comfortable, professional, and surprisingly unsentimental. Hitchcock never gave her special treatment on set. She auditioned like everyone else and worked under the same expectations. In interviews, Patricia recalled that working with her father was both one because his standards never lowered for family. She appreciated that he respected her enough as a professional to maintain those boundaries. Their on-screen collaborations became quiet family treasures, moments preserved in television history, where father and daughter shared creative space without fanfare or exploitation. For fans who knew to watch for her, spotting Patricia Hitchcock in an episode added an extra layer of warmth to the experience. Number 7. One episode was banned for decades. Here's a genuinely strange piece of history. The episode The Sorcerer's Apprentice, which aired in 1962, was pulled from syndication and banned from broadcast for decades due to its disturbing content. The plot involved a magician who performs a trick where he saws a woman in half. Except plot twist, he actually kills her using a real buzzsaw. The combination of implied gruesome violence and the twist ending apparently crossed a line that made networks deeply uncomfortable, especially as standards evolve. What's fascinating is that by today's standards, the episode is relatively tame. The actual violence occurs off-screen, but the psychological horror and the casual depiction of murder, disguised as entertainment, hit differently in that era. The episode became legendary among fans precisely because it was forbidden fruit, whispered about in TV guide histories and fan communities. It wasn't until home video releases in later decades that audiences could finally see what all the fuss was about, discovering that sometimes reputation exceeds reality. Quick question: which episode stuck with you the most? Drop your favorite twist ending in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button if you're enjoying this. Number 6. The show created the modern twist ending. While twist endings existed before, Alfred Hitchcock Presents essentially codified them as essential television storytelling elements. Episode after episode trained audiences to expect the unexpected. Nothing was as it seemed. The obvious suspect was rarely guilty, and that final 2 minutes could flip everything on its head. Writers became obsessed with crafting Hitchcock endings, and the show's influence rippled across the entire industry. Suddenly, every anthology series and many dramas felt pressure to deliver those gasp-inducing final moments. What Hitchcock understood was that the twist couldn't be arbitrary. It had to be fair, cleverly foreshadowed, and emotionally satisfying, even as it surprised. The show's writers became masters of misdirection, planting clues that seemed innocuous until the revelation recontextualized everything. This wasn't just entertainment, it was narrative craftsmanship at its finest. Decades later, shows from The Twilight Zone to Black Mirror owe a debt to how Alfred Hitchcock Presents made audiences crave and expect that final gut punch revelation. Number 5. Hitchcock never watched the final cuts. Here's something that would shock modern showrunners. Alfred Hitchcock frequently didn't watch the completed episodes before they aired. Once he'd approved scripts and checked in on productions he cared about, he trusted his team and moved on to his film work. This wasn't negligence. It was delegation from someone who understood his role as curator and brand ambassador rather than hands-on producer for every installment. He hired directors he trusted, like Robert Stevens and Paul Henreid, who understood the tone he wanted. His genius lay in creating a system that could produce consistent quality without requiring his constant presence. However, he did watch the introductions and epilogues obsessively, recording them multiple times until the delivery was exactly right. Those bookend segments were where his personal touch mattered most, where his personality and humor defined the viewer experience. The episodes themselves, as long as they maintained the Hitchcockian spirit of suspense, irony, and craftsmanship, he was content to let them fly. Number 4. The series changed how television was produced before Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Television anthology series were often considered lower-tier entertainment. Budget affairs churned out quickly with minimal prestige. Hitchcock changed that calculation entirely. He demanded film-quality production values, hired prestigious writers and directors, and insisted on budgets that allowed for proper lighting, sets, and rehearsal time. The show was shot on 35mm film, when many series used cheaper alternatives, giving it a cinematic look that elevated the medium. Network executives initially balked at the costs, but Hitchcock's name and reputation gave him leverage. When the series became both a critical darling and ratings success, it proved that quality television could pension and cultural impact. This shifted industry thinking. Suddenly, prestigious actors and directors who'd previously snubbed television reconsidered. The show essentially argued that the small screen deserved the same artistic respect as the big one, a philosophy that paved the way for the prestige television era we enjoy today. Number 3. Scripts often came from mystery magazines. A surprising number of episodes were adapted from short stories published in Ellery Queen's Mystery Magazine and Alfred Hitchcock's Mystery Magazine. Yes, Hitchcock licensed his name to a publication that then provided content for his show. It was brilliantly synergistic. These magazines featured tight, twist-heavy short fiction perfectly suited for half-hour television adaptation. Writers like Roald Dahl, Ray Bradbury, and Robert Bloch saw their literary work translated to screen, often with remarkable faithfulness to the source material. What's clever is how this created a symbiotic relationship. The magazines gained prestige from television exposure, while the show had a constant pipeline of pre-vetted, high-quality material. Hitchcock understood that great television didn't require reinventing the wheel. It required finding the best wheels available and putting them to effective use. This also meant that literary-minded audiences could read the original stories and appreciate how they'd been adapted, adding another layer of engagement and discussion around each episode. Number 2. The show launched a successful spin-off. As the series evolved, some stories demanded more room to breathe, leading to the Alfred Hitchcock Hour, which ran from 1962 to 1965. This hour-long format allowed for more complex plotting, deeper character development, and even more elaborate twist ending. But here's the interesting part. Hitchcock himself was even less involved in the hour-long version, though his introductions remained. The longer format attracted different types of stories. More psychological drama, more character studies, fewer of the tight, punchy shock endings that defined the half-hour show. Some fans preferred the original's tight economy of storytelling, while others appreciated the additional depth. Both formats demonstrated Hitchcock's understanding that content should dictate form, not the other way around. The hour-long version also provided more opportunities for those emerging actors we mentioned earlier to showcase range and ability. Together, the two series created over 360 episodes of suspenseful television, an almost incomprehensible output by today's standards. Number 1. Hitchcock's silhouette became iconic branding. That simple line-drawing silhouette of Hitchcock's profile, stepping into frame during the opening credits, became one of television's most recognizable images. It was minimalist, elegant, and slightly ominous, perfect for the show's tone. But here's what's genius about it. It reduced Hitchcock to his essential elements while simultaneously making him larger than life. The silhouette was mysteriously anonymous yet instantly identifiable, a magic trick of branding that predated modern marketing theory. It appeared on promotional materials, TV guide ads, and merchandise, becoming shorthand for quality suspense entertainment. Hitchcock understood personal branding instinctively. He'd already made himself a recognizable figure through his film cameos, but the silhouette took it further, transforming his physical presence into a symbol. When you saw that profile, you knew exactly what you were getting: sophistication, surprise, and stories that trusted your intelligence. It's remarkable how a simple visual element could carry so much meaning and create such powerful viewer expectations. Which fact surprised you most? Drop it in the comments, and if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, share it with someone who loves the classics. Until next time, good evening.